to that first game, looked much more cohesive and concise in that second.
Interesting that we still have the Twisted Fate ban against BDD. Certainly more of a Sky champion than a BDD one. So a little bit curious there.
Maybe they just didn't notice that BDD's here. Just assume that it's still Sky. But they're still going to keep that Sivir on the ban list. Want to really restrict that 80 carry pool between Loken and Kramer. Varus, of course, with that gangplank that we saw from Crazy.
I think if you're ESC, you go for a first pick Taliyah here. It is so lane dominant right now that if you are going to be ESC and playing into BDD, who is a stronger mid laner than Sky in terms of individual skill, you leave that up, and that's why they're going to ban the Rek'Sai. So this will force either the ban of the Taliyah or potentially a Gragas ban.
We'll see. I mean, they don't need to ban the Nidalee. We already saw that Bless, with that champion open in Game 2, doesn't want to just first pick it. Maybe with Rek'Sai gone, but they're still going to ban this, and Taliyah is available for Tempt.
You definitely take this pick if you're ESC. You don't let it go over to BDD, so this should be a pretty easy decision. Yeah, basically Bless is going to have to play either Elise or Gragas here unless he wants to dive a little bit deeper into the champion pool, maybe pick up a Hecarim or Elise in, but you should still be comfortable and just go for the most dominant mid laner in the game right now. What are you really going to give up here? Not a whole lot.
Oh, they're thinking it through.
No,
And,
don't do
oh
this. No, you should definitely not do this. Crazy may be a good Shen player, but
Good
there's still Trundle and Gnar up. Oh my.
Right.
I think that is a big mistake. There's still counter picks up. Yes, CJ didn't play them last game, and yes, Crazy has been the MVP of this series, but that puts you in a vulnerable situation. And this should just be Trundle Taliyah. Especially because CJ's on red this time, so they can flex the Trundle into last pick.
Yeah. But even then, they're not hovering this Taliyah at the moment.
I'm really surprised
no.
by this. I'm really surprised that Taliyah is falling this far down the draft.
Watch me just somehow don't get Taliyah picked up.
I'm curious what they're so worried about with this Taliyah pick. What does BDD have that is causing them to pause here?
With Vladimir back up here. Tempt could pick this for himself, but even then,
You're still going to be bullied by the Taliyah in the early game. That's what's so perplexing.
Taliyah Shen, you have so much global presence with
exactly. You should definitely take that combination.
It's not so much a submarine, it's more like a steamroller. I mean, you just ride the rock wall in with Shen in tow, and you just drop it on top of somebody.
Yeah, locomotive, just ride the rail in.
Yeah, there we go. It's the steam train.
Surely.
Powering through, but it looks like it's going to be Vladimir and Karma. So Taliyah not going to be picked up. BDD flashes the Zed for a moment. I don't think we'll be seeing that one coming through.
No. You take the Taliyah here. You're going to win the push war. You're going to have a lot of global presence. And you have Trundle already in the top lane to take away from Crazy Shen in the late game. This is such a puzzling draft from ESC.
Could potentially be their undoing then. And I'm sure CJ are welcoming this bizarre draft with open arms at the moment.
So trying to set up for picks here, the combination of Deadly Flourish and the Cocoon. Very good for long-range damage.
They're going to lock in the Elise, and that'll be the Taliyah, of course, as expected. So we don't know where this Trundle's going. Would be very strong into the Shen. Could see it thrown in bot.
Why not just play Gnar and Trundle? I mean, who cares, right?
Yeah, you could do that. Trundle will get harassed out a bit by that Karma, but...
Yeah, you definitely... I think you take the Caitlyn here. You take Caitlyn Sona. You have to have damage in the late game.
They can't
they can't take the Sona, you're right, with the Vladimir. Okay, well, it's going to be a jungler here as the final pick from ESC, but they're not going to be adding very much damage. Such a low... this ESC, I just can't imagine why they would just pick two losing lanes like this.
I mean, Bless has shown they can play the more aggro or rather damage-heavy junglers such as the Graves, but looks like the Gragas might just be the pickup.
I mean, they have late game damage. They have Vlad Caitlyn, so that's not the primary problem. The primary problem is that they're picking themselves into losing lanes, and the late game tankiness is the big issue because of the Trundle that has been Shy's preferred pickup. He has been good, maybe not as on laning as Trundle so much, but definitely in the team fights. His pillars have been on point when he was playing it during the regular season.
Well, it looks like they do want to just keep Shy on this Trundle. Not going to be playing around with the idea of that Gnar at all. So Mad Life might just flip back to his Braum, which he played in game 1. Didn't go so well at the end of the day.
We're going to have to keep an eye on Bless's pathing here, too, because it was his ganks at the top side that really caused problems for the rest of his team. CJ was able to answer cross-map with some pretty good efficiency in game number 1. Yes, they lost that series, but there's no gangplank in this game to really stretch it out. It will be the Braum as the lock-in, and also ESC doesn't have the pressure in the mid-lane matchup right now, so Bless is going to have to play a little bit more defensively than he did in the early game in game number 1. And, you know, Crazy's going to be kind of on his own. I expect both of the top laners to go for early Tiamat here.
Yeah, that's true, so you don't get outsplit by that Trundle up top. But, all right, well, a solid draft here from the side of CJ, but is this enough for them to pick up a win and then try to bounce back into this series? Because BDD is kind of the X factor
and
for
his
the
Talia
squad.
was not good in game 1 versus Kongbu. I mean, his ults were all over the place. He wasn't boxing in people properly. He wasn't working efficiently with the rest of his team.
It also just seemed like he didn't know the range on some of the abilities
Yeah,
he kept throwing out.
The Boulder Field was like the Unraveled Earth was super weird in his placement.
It's just, yeah, like, it's a strong pick, and the comp that is thrown together by CJ seems to be good, but I just don't know if it's going to pay off simply because BDD is in.
This is, like I said, it's a very weird priority on the Shen when both Gnar and Trundle are available. If you're not banning those, Shen does technically fall down the draft order because he does get so squishy with the Subjugate on him in late game team fights, makes him easy to pick off. So it's going to be Loken here, having to do quite a bit of work. Does have a lot of peel, and it's going to be the late game Caitlyn show if ESC is going to win this.
Loken's been having a pretty good set so far, in addition to the last couple matches that he's played, so we'll see if he can keep it up and deliver for ESC. Knock CJ Entus out of LCK, or if CJ is going to be able to fire back and take us to a 4th game. Let's go ahead and get onto the Rift. Here we go, just going to zip straight into it.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Yeah, the CJ fans still holding on for dear life with their voices. Trying to will them into success.
Hasn't worked so far.
No, it has not. Scream louder.
I guess. CJ needs to reverse sweep to come back and retain their spot in the top level competition here in Korea. CJ has been a part of Champions since summer of 2012. So 4 years, you know, about 8 months before the LCS even began, CJ was competing at the top level. So this is pretty monumental if they were to fall out.
The end of an era.
Absolutely.
Well, for now, CJ going to be playing it safe, looking for the late invade from Totoro and Loken. They have that ward. They're going to throw one over the wall, and CJ going to take a good little bit of damage onto both of those on the bottom side of the map, so they'll give a slight little advantage over to Loken and Totoro. So again, this is the bot lane that we saw in game 1.
It didn't do as well as you might have thought.
It was still pretty harass heavy, but
they didn't deny a lot of CS, but
yeah.
It was also they misplayed and they got dove.
They're already doing a better job.
Yeah, they got, well, I mean, this is to be expected. This will happen if you get the drop in the early level, so we'll just see how they do after that. But in any case, they got dove because of the pathing of Bless, so hopefully the coaches had a chat with Bless, say play around the pushing power of your bottom lane and snowball off of chip damage and turrets, because that's going to be the ideal way to handle this situation.
Yeah, and that was still just pretty much a heartbreaker. I mean, you say CJ Entus needs to reverse sweep. They basically already got reverse swept in their first game because of how much of a lead they had.
Yeah.
And it just fell through their fingers.
GP is pretty strong. And by pretty strong, I mean way too strong, mega broken. So, there should not be a champion in this game where you can be behind 17k gold and still hard carry in the late game.
I mean, there's also probably should be a champion that can have multiple ultimates invested in 5 people trying to kill it and still walks away alive. Rek'Sai, looking at you. Amongst other things, Haru going in for Bless.
Not going to find much.
Yeah, can't follow up the wall. He wanted to do so. He missed time the body slam, or the repel with the body slam. But get some damage down. Maybe he's just trying to chunk out Bless so he'll go get executed at Wolves again.
Ah, the fiendish plan to let the jungle crush your enemy.
Why not? If you can't do it, let the jungle do it for you.
RS mites. Problem here picking that one up. Red taken by Bless, so a little bit of a skirmish early in the river. Same sort of pathing that we saw from Bless in game number 1, but a little bit of adaptation here by CJ and the third game of this series, where again they were trying just to get a man advantage in the river by pushing up and freeing up Totoro to roam. Didn't go quite as well though.
Not a whole lot of action coming through yet. We can see Haru sitting in behind the turret at the moment, but this is a pretty big gap to close, so unless they can get a big Winter's Fight or a Deadly Flourish root down onto somebody, this at least really isn't going to find anyone. So Haru kind of wasting a bit of time.
And this is what you want, just the constant chipping away. Take that first brick gold, then move the Caitlyn with the BF sword and the Runins into other lanes and play wave clear until late game.
Really committing to this. Moving forward, they get a hit in on the Totoro. The shield comes out. Deadly Flourish not going to connect. Haru trying to get in range for Cocoon, but he's not going to find anything. So overall, he just spends about a minute or so sitting down here. And he's going to fall about 6 CS behind Bless on the Gragas.
Yeah, and that was only to relieve pressure, but now they know exactly where Haru is on the map, and they'll be able to push forward again after they reward. So Flash in exchange for the exhaust, still a good trade for CJ, but nice disengage there from ESC, and they're just going to be back to their hard pushing ways. Just for Gragas needs to really focus on counter ganking in the bottom side right now. Top lane going about as expected. Pushing into the Shen early. Crazy just freezing the wave right in front of his turret.
He's going to have a very slight little lead 3 CS up at the moment, but one shy.
Haru,
that Trundle.
Haru spending so much time. Ooh.
Oh, he's wrapping around. He's going to find Bless. He's a level down. Body slam coming through. Totoro roaming up, gets a big Mantra Q, and that's going to force the flash out of the Elise.
May not have actually had to use that flash right there because Bless had no more mana, but better safe than sorry. And does get out, but I mean, Haru is really far behind right now. He spent a lot of time trying to set up ganks and plays, and in the end, most of what he's done is given information over to ESC Ever about his location and made it very safe for Crazy to freeze.
Yeah. I mean, this is pretty much what was happening in game 1. Granted, CJ were able to swing that back for an extended period of time, but couldn't close out the game. As we show up, not going to connect with BDD. His step goes into the Sanguine Pool. He'll be happy with that trade to get that 20% off of him. Meanwhile, we had a bit of an extended trade up here.
Yeah, Crazy with the sustain advantage though, so smart of him to trade evenly. He has the Doran's shield. All Corrupting Potion charges have been used by Shy, and Crazy still had a potion ticking.
He's going to be in a rough spot. Going to have to wait for this wave to crash.
Haru is here.
To soak up the HP from these minions dying. But yeah, Haru roams up when the recall comes through from Crazy. And they're just not going to be able to find anything yet again. So this Elise not able to keep up with the pressure that is required for this champion.
Yep, we'll be TM on first for Crazy too, as expected. You just don't want to give any stats over to the Trundle in the early game. Better off just to...
He just got his backstop too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Crazy just walked up. Not even sure if he took a... Looks like he might have taken a tower shot with the shield up, but still going to deny that recall. So make Shy a little bit later. As the wave is up there near the turret, so he's going to miss a couple of those CS as well. Comes back in. He actually didn't buy anything. He was just only able to refill the potion. So that's a pretty crappy spot to be in.
That's a real crappy spot to be in. What? That's very weird.
I don't know. Maybe he misclicked something. Thought he'd double-clicked it, or I.
Wow, that is really weird.
Yeah. Oh. There's harass coming up from BDD. I don't know, man. It's not a good look, though.
That is a terrible look. And it has to use that subjugate early, too, just in trading, so.
Yeah, and Haru.
Big problems. So it was a mistake. He had to call Haru up here to push the wave so he can recall. Oh, boy.
Yep,
that is terrible.
Oh, dear.
Haru had to show on the map for that. That is a big, big error that's going to give Bless a lot of time. And now there are pings coming down into the bottom side of the map. If this causes deaths because of the Stand United now on the bottom side of the map, this is a train wreck for CJ.
Yeah, this will all be Shy's fault, essentially.
Yep.
Well,
now, are they going to dive this? This is the question.
Waiting for the blue buff at the moment, so Bless going to start this one up. BDD waiting over the wall. They have a ward there. We'll spot them out. So they see this one coming through.
Yeah.
So Haru will still be able to pick that up and still takes a big chunk of damage in the end.
But that cost BDD blue buff in the mid lane. There was a price to be paid for that. Wow, that is not where you want to be if you're CJ.
I mean, overall, CJ's not really where they want to be. Look at the CS differences across the board. 86 to 66 right now. So 20 CS advantage over to Loken in the bottom lane. You have the top lane where the Shen is winning out this battle against the Trundle, who finally did get the Tiamat and the Longsword. And then 47 to 35 in the jungle. So everybody's winning out other than in mid where BDD's been able to keep up.
It is really difficult to understate how much that threw off the tempo of the game for CJ. Because it cost Haru farm, it cost BDD the blue buff, it cost Shy farm in the top side. When they knew where Haru was, ESC was able just to push more aggressively into the bottom. Like, those little things. You know, we're talking about 30 seconds of time that it takes to get back from the base, but at the professional level of play, that really, really matters. So, disaster. And it's given ESC about 1,000 gold lead, that one mistake. Yeah. Really terrible.
CJ need to be able to come up with a first blood, a first brick, something to help turn this back on its head. That, you know, those extra little surges of gold could help cover up these mistakes that have come through from them. Nice block by Mad Life. But right now they're just not in a position to really get near the turrets. They've been shoved in most of the lanes. So Vladimir will be able to shove up or at least go even with his Talia. And then of course this Kalich has been doing some pretty ridiculous work in bottom, just constantly using Peacemaker to try to make something happen. Totoro gonna get locked up here. Oh, the Cocoon gonna hit the cannon minion. Haru goes in deep, but he might have bitten off more than he can chew. Totoro living for now, gets the shield onto himself, but BDD's able to pick up the kill. Winter's Bite goes through onto Bless. One more hit will stun him up, but he gets a body slam away into the root, but they still can't follow up. Threaded Volley will take off a little bit more damage, but it's going to be a one-for-one trade. Haru goes down.
Shy's the real hero there. He actually stopped the Stand United from Crazy, completing the channel onto the bottom side. But there was no Vladimir in the mid lane, so BDD trying to make a play when they didn't have mid pressure. Nobody was going to be capable of responding, but even then, CJ comes out on the worst end of the trade because they lose their support for the jungler, and First Blood still goes over to ESC. So you see, watch this push up. I mean, Vladimir just recalled, so ESC being a little bit cocky. Now watch, Trundle does actually interrupt the channel in the top side, so they are going to be able to kill Totoro, but not before Haru goes down. Loken gets accelerated with the First Blood gold. That is fantastic for ESC. And nobody's going to end up using the teleports out of the top side, but a little bit sloppy ESC trying to be too cute, push too far forward when Tempt is recalling.
I think Shy actually didn't have his TP available, so like the best that he could do was just stop that.
He didn't have to flash for it either, which is nice.
Yeah.
I mean, that was actually a pretty bad Stand United from Crazy if the Trundle did not have to flash. But then again, it was an aggressive move by CJ. It was reactionary, so.
Well, take a look at the Stand United that we had in the near the end of the last game inside of the base.
Which it does make
next to a Maokai.
Does make you wonder why this gen is so high priority, doesn't it?
Yeah. And outside of that, Crazy, I guess, has been doing a pretty decent job, still maintaining that lead over top of Shy, who looks like he might just be going for the Ravenous Hydra as opposed to the Titanic.
No, I mean, but at the end of the day, though, even though CJ makes the proactive play, they still lose out. Haru's still getting chunked here, and that's a lot of damage. So the pressure continues to mount. This game, unlike in game number 1, they've really transitioned this very strong early game laning combination of Caitlyn and Karma into more of an advantage. And you know what? Bless hasn't been ganking top, so it looks like they really took that to heart. Play around the team's strength, try and get the money out of the turrets, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to walk up right here and zone out with barrels. Tempt also coming down.
Tempt running down. Haru is here, but the turret is going to fall, so first brick.
Good job.
Goes over to ESC.
Yep, very nice by Tempt. Had the Scuttle Crab to get a little bit more speed around the corner. Mad Life is going to stop his back, but won't be able to do much to him.
Cocoon not going to connect against the Sanguine, so he'll be fine. Shy finally starting to win out some of these trades over top of Crazy. That Vampiric Scepter got to be helping him out in that regard. But about 2.4 thousand gold lead over to ESC. Just 13.5 minutes into this game. And if they could get a pick now that they have that turret down in bottom, it's going to open up their potential and take this Mountain Drake that much more.
Yeah, it's looking really good for ESC. They can just play around the Caitlyn's pushing power. Is going to be, hopefully, I hope it's not BF Zeal into Infinity Edge this time. I hope it's actually BF Hurricane, so they can just keep pushing.
CJ just need to make something happen. Again.
How are they going to do that? That's the big question. They have to play around BDD's Talia and then try and get into the late game where Shy is going to have this big edge over the Shen, because Shen is going to have to build tanky at some point, and Shy will just take away all those stats.
I'm just worried that this is it, and that CJ closes out with a 0-3 performance in relegation, and that's how their career ends.
I mean, that would be pretty dark, but how do you think the team reacts? I mean, be CJ right now, and just think about their morale. Okay, you're down 0-2 in the series, and Shy literally has to make a call. Haru, come up to the top side. I forgot to buy. Like, that is a thing that just happened to CJ. Like, how does the rest of the team respond mentally to that situation? It is bad.
I'd be pretty pissed, to say the least. But yeah, I mean, it would just be the bumpiest of endings to a roller coaster of a career for CJ Entus as an org. Which is a really odd expression because roller coasters are fun. And this is definitely not fun for CJ.
And roller coasters like KT Rollster are good in League of Legends. So.
Yeah.
We already have a team named Roller Coaster.
It's a pretty just oxymoronic phrasing, I guess.
All right, we're going to try for this. Shen is backing off. CJ really, I mean, this is huge. ESC would be, yeah, they're going to be great. The Mountain Drake is very good for them, considering they have Caitlyn and they're trying to do some fast rotations here and just siege down the outer ring quickly with the Caitlyn. So, big pickup. It's definitely a big pickup. Walking through, going to find a pink ward right there. Do need to be careful.
If they do, looks like Bless has that body slam over the wall. Totoro just going to flash away. And they're not going to be able to create any picks. So BDD, ultimate just goes back on the cooldown. CJ will remain at a disadvantage. 2.3 thousand still going to be the difference. So not having grown for ESC much in these last couple of minutes, but they still have it. They got that Mountain Drake, so that's going to be the big pickup for them.
Yeah, we're going to see Caitlyn recall right now. Now, they don't have the best 1-3-1 split push composition in ESC because they do have this Vladimir without a teleport. Of course, he can still zip around with the help of his Ghost. So it does make it a little bit awkward. Caitlyn is usually best when you play her with double TP compositions because you can just put her in the mid lane and just do brain dead wave clear. And now everybody recalling at a really awkward time. They're actually going to maybe trade turrets here. Loken looking for the top side of the map. But Kramer and Madlife doing very little damage with just a Youmuu's Ghost Blade to the turret.
Should be able to work this down now.
Not as fast as Caitlyn can. I mean, Caitlyn is now, oh, they're going to get it, but Caitlyn pushed all the way back down the lane. They're zoning out. And Tempt not going to do much to the mid lane turret. Of course, Vladimir does have the wave clear disadvantage against the Talia.
So it'll just be a trade of turrets in the end. So the gold's going to stay pretty much the same, but that's going to be all of the rather the two outer side tier ones going down for ESC. Mid, the last one that they need to break, but getting through that wave clear for BDD is just proving pretty difficult.
And unlike in game one, remember, the Caitlyn played by Loken was doing huge amounts of late game damage, but was held down in the early game. This time, Loken is really far ahead.
Yeah, 188 CS here at 18 minutes now. So doing better than 10 per.
Yep, and now they just play around Caitlyn push. That's it. It's a pretty easy game plan. At least there's lots of wave clear from the Talia on the side of CJ.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things that you criticized was not going for that Rudan's Hurricane first. And that's exactly what he's done this time around, now looking for the Infinity Edge.
You can really see the adjustments made by ESC between game 1 and game 3. They're playing it a lot differently.
And it's working out pretty well for them. I mean, the next couple minutes, as far as game 1 goes, when CJ kind of starts swinging things in their favor, and they get the monstrous lead, and then they lose in the end. So this time it seems like ESC might be able to just cruise control their way through to the end of the game.
Okay, so now we're into the phase of the game where Caitlyn just sits in the mid lane until that mid turret goes down. Vladimir going to have to find some side wave farm. They're going to put Vlad in Shy's lane, despite the fact that there is that teleport inequality, just to hide Shen for a little bit.
So, you know, I mean, we just went to the Hearthstone finals last night.
Oh, we did. It was fun.
They rented out Lotte World, which is theme park might be a little bold, but it is a theme park. It is a theme park.
It's an amusement park.
It's technically, yeah, there we go. That is a better term for it. So it is an amusement park. It's got some rides in it. So we went there and had a blast. They rented it out until like 2 a.m. or something like that for the Hearthstone final. And I just really feel like they probably should have put the promotion tournament in there as well, because at least when these teams get relegated, they can go ride some rides and just try to forget how depressingly sad they are.
Yeah, it's the big pick-me-up. I'm sure that's exactly what the pro players want to do, is ride rides after being relegated.
I mean, it would cheer me up, I guess. Maybe well, no. There's a roller coaster in there. Madlife would go on the roller coaster and be like, my God, it's my career all over again.
Went from the very top, probably the best player in the world at one point in time, to struggling here in Korea.
Yeah. Definitely been a rough time and a rough road. Bless gonna have to flash away, so it gets popped up, but there's no one really there to follow up. That's gonna be the turret going over. Loken getting caught up by the cocoon, but the Stand United comes through, will keep him alive, and now Haru getting rooted. He's gonna go down.
Crazy.
Crazy picks up the kill. Nice taunt from him.
Yeah, great taunt flash to actually secure that. And so they are trading evenly when it comes to towers after that first one went down, but now with the mid turret up, though, Deep Vision going to be coming through. And the real problem from CJ is that they don't have an answer to Loken getting hyper-fed on this Caitlyn. And he's been getting a lot of exclusive gold here from the turrets. He has been accelerated at a pace much faster in game number 1, 40 CS up, and also sitting on 2 items and heading into his 3rd right now. So he is looking excellent for late game damage.
And you know, this was, I guess Loken can only perform when it comes to the promotion tournament, because this was the Loken that we saw in spring, and I said, you know what, he has the potential to be this great AD carry in LCK, and then he just kind of fell flat for the majority of the split. But it just seems like when his career is on the line, Loken can perform very well.
Yes, that's true.
So he just needs to be threatened, I guess, by the management. They just need to tell him, look, if you lose a single game, you are fired. We will kick you to the streets of Korea.
Oh, I would feel bad for Loken in that case. I still think he has it in him. You know, it's only his first season.
Yeah, we'll see, because right now it's looking like he very well will get the opportunity to prove himself in spring in 2017.
CJ, one thing that did happen in the promotion tournament when they played with BDD is that their shot calling was indecisive. They looked lost. They're going to come in for this. Going to be too late for the Drake.
Wall coming through, so the Ocean Drake will go over to ESC. Shy going to teleport in. He's in the thick of three members. Gets popped away. Throws out the subjugate, but it doesn't matter. He's just going to get burned out. Loken claims the kill while Tempt keeps the rest of CJ busy.
It's over. It's over, Achilles.
And
like,
it's over. That's it.
It's over. Like, you make plays like that, and you're not even here in the game any longer.
Oh, dear. Well, Mad Life tries to body block, and the East Null still weaves its way in onto Haru. ESC pushing forward, looking for this tier 2. Turn call's going to open up. Loken takes one. He'll take the other one. Cocoon not going to land. As the flash away comes through from Totoro, they will be able to get Tempt at the end of this. Lock him up with the concussive blows. Now Loken actually still far forward. What are you doing, buddy? He's going to have to back off. Almost gets locked down. Plus he'll get rooted. Gets a slow through with the cast. Seismic shove not going to connect, and he'll be able to back off. So CJ, they hold on to the tier 2, and they get a hell of a lot of summoner spells out. But they're not going to be able to find anything, and now they push too far forward. They're going to have to hightail it back up the river.
Yeah, Bless there, a little bit shy of having that explosive cask still on cooldown, but threatens enough to force them back. He's going to just clear out this wave to buy his allies some time right there. And I mean, completing this teleport is a total mystery to me, Achilles. I mean, the Weaver's Wall is already down. You're being zoned out. Kramer's nearly dead. Stem's on top of him. World's easiest kill. Feed that Caitlyn a little bit more here. And then they try and push up. They really want to make a play onto the tier 2 turret afterwards, but get overextended a bit and have a kind of janky kiting there from ESC. Not the cleanest play from either side, but still, it's another Drake for ESC ever.
Yep. Get our first Cloud Drake as our third one. That'll be coming through shortly here. But just not a good look. Kramer is still working on completing his second item to the 2.5 that Loken has. Really, at this point, it's like 2 2/3 because he's got that dagger in the inventory as well. So,
yep. It's a tough row to hoe here from CJ. Not over yet, but they are not playing very coordinated, and the Caitlyn threat looms ever larger. They don't really have a great answer to deal with the Caitlyn. They don't really have a way to get in the back line to kill the Caitlyn either. That's the big problem, is who kills the Caitlyn? There's no echo this time like there was in game 1 for Shy to stick to the Caitlyn. Their method of engage is poor from CJ. How do you CC the Caitlyn with this composition? Like, do you like flash Cocooner? That's about all you can do.
I mean, Haru's also proven that he's not very reliable with that.
I just don't.
He cocooned a cannon minion and they're engaged in bottom lane, so.
Even if you kill the Shen and you steal all his stats, who kills the Caitlyn in the late game? Like, whose job is it to take out 6-item Caitlyn? They don't have anybody who could do that.
Kramer has to hit all of his bullets.
Yeah, well, okay, well, I guess you better hope there isn't like 1 million people in the front line and or a Karma speeding up the Caitlyn.
Come on, what are the odds of that? Seems really unlikely to me. Well, Tempt is also at that point where you can just clear out waves from Tides of Blood, so you know that the Vladimir is really starting to come online. Looks like he's going to be picking up the Zonia as soon as he has the Fiendish Codex completed.
Yeah, rapid fire cannon now done for Loken too. Probably should transition into a QSS next just to be as cautious as he can be.
Yeah. Pick up his Mercurial Scimitar. We'll see which way he wants to go. He's only going to have 100, I know. Look at that difference.
Yeah, 2,500 gold between Loken and Kramer.
Oh, boy.
Oh, credit to ESC. Really big credit. They refused to play around this lane. Got sucked into trying to accelerate the gangplank in game number 1. This time around, they choose the right place to snowball.
Yep. Just miss pretty much everything as they try to lock down Bless.
Yeah, cooldown already back up though for Loken. Didn't actually fire, so let's refund that.
Shove off. So they'll be fine. You can see ESC just fearlessly pushing in. They know that pretty much all of
many
CJ are
wards
sitting in here, but they're just like, you know what? We don't care. We can take you. They push forward. They just drop wards everywhere in this top side of the jungle.
They have 4 pink wards around the Baron right now. They're doing a really good job of just playing pressure and snowballing.
I mean, they've had good vision for the majority of this set so far. It was good early on. In game 1, it kind of fell off. CJ got the lead. They bounced back. Game 2, good vision control from ESC. And that's just been a pretty strong, bit of play from them this entire time for the most part. Now getting that tier 2 in mid. Looking for the one in top as Tempt moves over there to split this, and the rest of ESC going to come down for the tier 2 in bot. Going to continue to add more and more objectives now that they have this 5,000 gold lead.
But there's no defense here. Just bleeding out here for CJ. They lose the mid lane tier 2. They are not able to push anybody back. BD is missing every single seismic shove as Temp just pops over to the side there with the proto belt.
I like that little flourish dodge that he had. It's like this cooldown's not even important to me. I'll just use it to get away from your E. Maybe it's his W. Doesn't matter.
No, I mean, it's grim here from CJ. It is really, really grim.
Yeah.
It may only be 5,000 gold, but CJ just looks like they have no wind in their sails right now. ESC has been dominating this game. There aren't even really wards on the map from CJ at this point in time.
I count 2. A pink and a regular one by the Krugs and one by the base gate. 3 by the Krug.
All right. Yeah, it's
amazing.
They at least got the crab, so they, Haru snuck in there and took it.
But it's also
Drake.
There's only one pink ward in the inventory. CJ. It's Mad Life. Nobody else is buying pink wards. There's one down on the map. There's one in the inventory. And for all I know, that one on the map is already Mad Life, so he can't put the other one down without getting rid of that one. So, CJ just looked like they got completely disconnected from this set.
Yep. I think they've just been broken mentally now.
Ah, man, this is such a... This is sad.
It is sad. It is very sad to watch.
Like, my usual go-to is, like, make a joke about something. And I just... This is like making a joke about some tragedy.
Yeah, the ESC has been the better team in this series, and they deserve to win. If they take it home, here we
Flash
go.
Body Slam's going to throw out the explosive cast. TP coming at the backside of the pits from Shy, though. He's going to have to run around this or flash over the wall. He's just going to cancel it out in the end. It's like Haru going to take a bit of damage from that ace in the hole. Temp now arriving, jumping on the Mad Life. Just stand behind me to try to get over to Kramer. He comes down. Third call opened up. Can he find any targets that he can actually really work down with this, though? And a couple hits onto Totoro looking. Waiting for that last shot. Meanwhile, Haru's going to fall. Loken picking up the kill.
He tried to flash cocoon Loken, and Loken just sidestepped it. BDD was already critted out. I mean, basically Shy canceled his TP right there because Loken put a trap underneath the ward in the Baron pit. And he knew he was just going to instantly die because he has no tanky items. He went, well, he's got Iceborne, but he has Ravenous Hydra Iceborne. He would have been killed by Loken very quickly. Yeah. That's going to be it. Baron for ESC.
Oh dear. Well, I think we are well past the point of return for CJ. I know we said that earlier, but I think the Baron really just kind of puts that final nail in the coffin for these guys. Because they just can't even get a pick. You know, it's 4-2. It hasn't been like a high kill game, but they haven't been able to pick one up in so long. They haven't gotten any objectives in forever. They just have 2 tier 2 towers, one in top, one in bottom. No dragons to their names at the moment. And honestly, this is just an abysmal performance by CJ Entus.
Yeah. There's not really another way to put it. It's sad to watch. We got a couple of players in this game in Shy and Mad Life that are all-time greats at their positions. Second place in the World Championship, champions winners here in Korea. Mad Life, like I said, arguably at one point in time in 2013, the best player in the world from the support position. So many Thresh plays, so many Alistair plays, really a legend. And see him relegated,
I mean,
it might be the end of his career.
You know, this guy, I'm sure I'm not alone in it. Well, I'll have to hold that thought. Weaver's Well's going to get thrown out. It looks like they're not going to be able to do a whole lot with it. Just trying to cut them off, clear out the wave while they can, get rid of those Baron-empowered minions. But I'm sure I'm not alone in this. Mad Life was, you know, the first Korean player that I had ever heard of.
Yeah.
Just everybody saying like, oh, have you seen that guy Mad Life on YouTube? Like, no. And then I watched, you know, the highlight videos, see these insane hooks coming through, whether it's the Thresh, whether it's the Blitzcrank. Just like, man, this guy's absolutely incredible. That was the first time that I had really thought about Korea as a region, realized how good it was. That's gonna get knocked in. Stand United coming through. Shy, aggressing, might be trying to find a kill onto the Gragas. Kurt Call's opened up. Temp still really deep inside of the base. Bullets coming through, though, not going to be able to get anyone low enough to actually pop them. And that will be the inhibitor falling as Loken just finishes it off. Temp getting locked in. Sandgreed Pool will dodge out the Deadly Flourish, and it looks like ESC will be safe to go ahead and retreat back down to this bottom lane where they're going to look to knock down the last outer turret.
And then it's going to be another Mountain Drake Achilleos. You got 2 Mountain Drakes on the Caitlyn comp. Ooh, rough times.
This is about as rough as it can get. It's not a very encouraging way to go out, but I guess it just goes to show that this is the team that deserves to be relegated. It's unfortunate and sad, it is to say, and how depressed it makes me feel.
Yeah, no question, ESC. Certainly the stronger team here today. Coming up with what is most likely, barring some miracle, 3-0 over CJ Entus.
I don't even know what that miracle would be.
They just don't have a way. I mean, you can tell CJ knows they don't have a way to kill Caitlyn when Haru's trying to flash Cocoon in the back line.
And now Shy getting caught out. Monroe pinching around from the side. They do get the root. They're going to really invest in on the blast. Flashes away. He's going to stay alive. Temp now getting junked out quite a bit. Transfusion will keep him alive for now. Loken starts threatening around. And he is...
There's nobody in
both of them going to be able to walk away. And yep, Crazy splitting up in top has that Tiamat, so he'll be able to get a decent amount of damage down, but not seeing the members of CJ, he's going to decide to play it safe, back off. Because why go for the turret now when he can come back when they have a second Mountain Drake buff? Let's knock this thing down with relative ease.
That's right. So 4 Drakes over to ESC. They have been dominating that objective in this series. Of course, that will make the Elder Dragon, when it comes up at 40 minutes or so, even more deadly in their hands. They have every opportunity right now to go for that second Baron buff in a couple of minutes.
Well, Kramer may not be playing the Caitlyn, but he's still trying to gate people off with the traps as
those are going to die pretty quickly, though.
Down. Yeah, not going to provide nearly as much damage as the
Wall.
headshot would be. Yeah, Weaver's Wall coming in, cutting them off. They're stuck in underneath this tower, so Loken trying to burn through this as quickly as he can. Ace in the Hull comes out. It's going to be the Zonia's down from Temp as Crazy arrives. Off of that Stand United. Temp going low. The Cocoon connects onto him, but he's going to flash away. Call opened up. They should be able to just body block this. All of ESC just standing in a line with Crazy at the front. They'll get their second inhibitor. This very well could lead to the end of the game. Crazy dashing forward, not going to connect with too much for the taunt. He's going to get his Guardian Angel pop, but Loken goes for it, finds a kill now onto Haru, looking for more, flashes away, he's going to get popped in the trap. Laid down by Kramer, finds a double kill as he finishes off Totoro, almost gets a Deadly Flourish in on the Temp. He'll have the Sanguine Pull, and he'll be able to exit his way out, but now Shy coming in on the sidelines, looking for more, trying to get onto this Vladimir. That's going to be the Rocks coming through, trying to work him down. He is going to fall in the end. And the CJ Entus finally showing some breath of life. Find 3 members, but 2 inhibitors down.
That was really poorly played by ESC. Mostly what happened was basically Loken should have been autoing the turret and decided to ace in the hole, even though the Unbreakable was still up and he didn't do any damage. That was a second channel on there. Could have been autoing instead. So really needed to actually just power through instead of wasting time with his ultimate. That could have been a lot better for him, so ESC overcommits. But you know what? Just like last game, Achilleos, when we actually step back and look at what happens when the dust settles, it doesn't matter. There aren't objectives for CJ to take. They're not going to get a turret out of this. They got some kills, but they lost their inhibitor, the one furthest away from Baron. Baron's up at 30 seconds. The super minion wave is already knocking on the door of their base, so ESC can just hold out. And sure, they sacrificed, but the trade is, in the end, worth it for ESC.
For sure. And now with this Baron coming up in 15 seconds.
Caitlyn is 6 items.
Not going to be looking good. Crazy just fearlessly pushing into the jungle to get some vision. Spots out Haru, but he's going to be all right. And now the Baron's coming up.
Yeah, Zeke's 6-item Caitlyn. Okay. Cool.
Oh dear. Totoro just making sure that Loken does the maximum amount of damage. You can see this Baron is just gone already. Smite comes through, picked up by Bless. And now Shy really far forward, going to get locked down. Weaver's Wall coming out. Will cut off Loken to the other side. Curtain call coming through now. Bless in the front lines. Going to get locked up by the concussive blows. Looks like he might go down. Fourth and final shot does hit him. He's going to get that Guardian Angel pop. Temp still going forward. Has the Zonius to keep him alive. A big heal coming through from that Hemo Plague. Comes back with the Proto Belt, getting some damage in on the Shy. Trying to finish off his Guardian Angel if possible. Looks like he very well may pop it. There it is. CJ, do they stick around to try to save Shy's life? The answer is no. They just leave him out to dry. He's going to fall down. And now the Super Creeps in on to this Nexus. The teleport coming through, keeping that big Super Creep alive. First turret looking like it's going to go down. Kramer doing what he can to try to get some damage in to take down these members of ESC. But the Nexus is just a turret away from being exposed. Bless goes forward onto Mad Life. Takes some damage, still has the Unbreakable up, trying to retreat back to the fountain, but it's just too little too late. ESC ever, congratulations, you will remain in the LCK. And it's the end of an era. CJ Entus get relegated for the first time since 2012.
Yeah, since summer 2012, CJ, the org that gave us all-time great players, Mad Life, Shy, Flame, Ambition, Dade, Insect, all players on this CJ Entus organization. And now they're going to have to be playing from Challenger. ESC ever, the new blood, will remain in champions.
I really don't even know what to say at this point, Monty. It's just,
And there aren't words.
a big amalgamation of just sad emotions right now.
Good for ESC, though. I mean, they came in. This organization has been so interesting, winning the Kespa Cup, beating SK Telecom at the end of last year, winning IEM Cologne, an international tournament as a Challenger team, rising through the ranks of Challenger in the spring to make it into the league, and they will maintain their position. So it's been an inspiring road for a new org for ESC ever for the most part. Yeah, they had some hiccups, came into IEM Katowice, didn't do too well, and also came into relegations here when we expected them to maybe challenge for a playoff. Instead it was MVP, the new team that did that, but ESC's back, and they'll be taking another stab at champions in 2017.
Yep, so both of our teams that made it in spring promotions will remain MVP and ESC as they now retain their spot. Kongnu Monster back in, Spenu back to Challenger, and CJ Entus out as well. And really, who knows what's going to happen? Will these guys compete in Challenger? Will the team just fracture and kind of scatter the roster to the wind? Because there certainly are these members that could go to other teams, maybe even other regions, such as Mad Life, BDD, who still is a promising player.
BDD, you're right, he is a promising player, especially for a rookie, but we'll see if he gets picked up by a different team here.
I mean, it's a much better Talia game this time around compared to the one that we saw on Monday. But even so, it just wasn't enough. It just seems like CJ, in addition to being mentally broken, just weren't cohesive.
I mean, that game 3, it looked like they were just gone. It was just a sad way. Like CJ just looked like they were going down without even fighting in game 3. That was the most depressing thing.
It's a shell of their former selves, basically.
Yeah.
But ESC, they'll close out. I can't call it a swift 3-0 because we had some hellishly long games there, especially game 1, but they made it work in the end, and now we just have to expect a little bit more from ESC coming back into spring, because in summer, it was a bit of a disappointment after them making it into LCK. but we'll see how things go for them the next time around. We're going to throw it over to an interview with our winners. So, Steven, take it away for the translation.
Thank you very much, Akili and Monte, for a great cast for today's match. And now we're moving into interview booth with the winner of today's relegation tournament, ESC Ever. And after 3 long journey, ESC Ever finally managed to stay in LCK for the next 2017 spring. And let's have a conversation with Coach Kim and Aris for the ESC Ever. And crazy. So first of all, any comment for today's match, Coach Kim? And Coach Kim said that I'm really relieved right now. I'm really satisfied with today's match score, and I'm really happy to stay in LCK for the next season, and I'm gonna be well prepared, and we're gonna show a lot of great performance for the next season. So Dongjun asking, you guys kind of worry after Thursday game because Gyeongdu Monster managed to go to LCK ahead of you guys, and how do you guys feel about that? And then the Coach Kim said that although we didn't manage to go ahead of the Gyeongdu, but we're thinking about today's match, and also we're kind of thinking about the lane fight. Kind of there were a lot of problems were going on, so we tried to fix that problem in the scrim practice, and I think that part we did it for the today's match. And now the Cloud Temper asking to Crazy about the, you guys kind of Crazy, you have like there were a lot of some throwing or kind of trolling in the beginning of the tournament, but overall after 3 long journey, you have managed to grown up. So what kind of performance? Any comment for that? And Crazy said that I had a hard time in the first day, but after some few days I have some practice and a lot of comment from coach, I have grown up. So that's the reason why I think I have shown a great performance for today. So Dongjun say because of today's performance, there's a lot of kind of also bad comment and a lot of criticism, but overall because of today's performance, we have managed to throw that up. So what do you think about that? And then Crazy said, I'm just really happy to stay in LCK for the next season, and I'm gonna be practice much more harder for the next season. That's the only thing I can say right now. And now the Dongjun said that although Crazy is here at the interview right now, but there's any other player did great job for today's match or overall as a relegation tournament. And then the Coach Kim is saying that I could say Temp have shown a great performance over a 3 game, very stable. And also Loken had a kind of mental breaking after a few games, but he have recovered really quickly and have shown a great performance today with the Caitlyn with today's match. And I'm really happy with all the players in my team. And the Cloud Temper ask about how do you feel about overall the relegation tournament, and then Coach Kim saying that I had a really hard time in 3 days. I feel like each day were like hell to me, but I'm really relieved and happy to stay in LCK. And now Cloud Temper asking about the performance about Crazy, and Crazy say I have nothing else to say at the beginning, but I think I did a pretty great job on today, and the only thing I can recover from the criticism is that to show my best performance for the next season. So Dongjun's asking about you guys gonna have any dinner for after this match, and the Crazy said we might have a great dinner with the coach and the staff member maybe. And Dongjun is saying that you guys have a lot of time for the next 2017 LCK spring, about 5 months, and how you guys gonna be prepared, and any message to your fans, and any message to your fans is asking to Coach Kim. And then Coach Kim said he's really thankful to all the fans, truthfully came to the stadium right now, and really happy that every time you guys came to the stadium and cheered for us. And Coach Kim said that although we had not shown a great performance in the overall season, but I trust on my players that all the players are really showing great performance, and we're gonna practice for the next season, and I hope the my players gonna do much better for the next season. And don't just asking to any last message, Crazy. And Crazy say, I'm really thankful to all the fans have drawn a lot of sign mark that to the stadium, and also there were a lot of illustration for the like a drawing for myself. I'm really happy with that, and I hope even the next season a lot of fans should visit to the stadium for cheer for us. I'm really thank you. And don't just saying that congratulations for the ESC ever. And I think that's it for today's interview match, and back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Steven, for the translation. So yeah, I mean, getting ready for next split, that's pretty much all these guys can really focus on. I'm sure they'll be able to get some good practice when the teams come out here to Korea to boot camp for Worlds, if they can schedule in with them. But ESC, they remain alive in the LCK alongside Kongdu Monster, but Spenu and CJ Entus have been kicked back to the curb. And now they will have to fight their way through Challenger and try to promote back into the LCK after next spring.
Yeah, we'll see if that even happens. We'll see what the CJ and his organization decides to do with this Challenger slot and this roster. I anticipate they're probably going to have to go through a full rebuilding if they want to stay. Probably a lot of their veteran players will be looking at other regions. Mad Life will certainly probably have quite a few offers from NA, I would imagine.
I'm sure he could get some offers from just about all over the place at this point, but there's a lot of, clout that comes with having that name to him. But dearly beloved, we gather here to say our goodbyes to CJ Entus. May they rest in peace, and may we see some of these players back yet again in the next split, whether they're in Korea, whether they're in any other region. Hopefully their careers don't end right here, because there's some damn good talent on that squad. Just needs the right team pieced together to be able to fully show itself.
That's sort of the story of CJ as an organization. It was a kind of a slow decline from being probably two of the best teams in the world with Zubu Blaze and the Zubu Frost, including right after they were picked up by CJ, and never really had the same pieces to compete at that level again, unfortunately.
Well, that's going to conclude our promotion tournament. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back on Monday for the World's Qualifiers. We'll see you then.